There are updates in the case of the two felonious fishermen that I covered last year. For those of you who don't remember or didn't watch that video, two men, Runyan and Chase Cominsky, were participating in a professional fishing tournament here on Lake Erie back in October of 2022. In an attempt to win the prize money, which was a significant amount, Cominsky and Runyan took walleye and loaded them down with lead weights and fish fillets in an attempt to have fish that would exceed all the other weights combined of the other competitors so they could win the tournament. It was during the weigh-ins that people were very suspicious, given that their fish weighed nearly 35 pounds total compared to everyone else who had about 16 or 17 pounds. So upon inspection, the fish were cut open and lead weights and pieces of walleye fillet were found shoved into the walleyes they had caught.
Don't we need to file a police report? Yeah. Jason, we got to file a police report.
Can't do. I mean, we do it. And
that same month, Cominsky and Runyan were both indicted in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, for 3 felony counts of cheating, attempted grand theft, and possession of criminal tools, and then 1 misdemeanor count of a fish and game violation because both the walleye they had caught and presented, plus the walleye fillets they cut up and shoved into the fish, showed they were clearly above the catch limit for walleye on Lake Erie at that time of the year. Not a lot had gone on with this case until March 23rd of this year, when Cominsky and Runyan both pled guilty to the offenses of cheating and the fish and game violation. As part of that plea, they agreed to a couple of terms. One of them is that they would suffer a maximum suspension of their fishing license in Ohio of up to 3 years. Now, that may seem not like that big of an issue because there are 49 other states, but all the states work together in a compact, and you generally have to admit, yes, I've been suspended or I have been suspended in my ability to fish and or hunt when you apply for a fish and or hunting license in other states. In addition to that, they are surrendering and forfeiting their Ranger bass boat and trailer to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. While this may not seem like a big deal, from gauging the type of boat they had, which was a Ranger Pro bass boat, the 2023 model with trailer is $110,000. Now, obviously, they don't have that model, but gauging off things, they probably had close to a $100,000 boat that is just now poof. And then finally, they're requesting 6 months of probation. Now, that is where things are out of their hands. The judge gets to decide how much probation or community control they receive. For either the felony offenses or the misdemeanor offense, they can receive up to 5 years of probation. It's certainly up to the judge. The judge can also incarcerate them. The misdemeanor offense carries a jail sentence of up to 30 days. And the felony offense covers a incarceration period of 6 to 12 months in prison. Now, because of things in state law and programs that Cuyahoga County is involved in with the Department of Corrections, anytime these guys serve would be locally served at the county jail. So they're likely not going to get a 12-month sentence, but we'll talk about what I think is going to happen later. There is one more part of the plea agreement, and I think this needs to be talked about separately, and I'm addressing it now. The state of Ohio is agreeing not to oppose Runyan and Cominsky's request to have their records sealed, meaning having their felony conviction expunged in other states at the appropriate time. Because it's a felony charge, they have to wait 3 years after the expiration of their sentence, which includes probation. So if they are given 2 years of probation, they have to wait until the day their probation is over and then wait 3 years, and then they can apply. What does this all mean? What's going to happen to these guys? Are they going to go to jail? Yeah, probably not. I doubt it. These guys don't really have a record. Although it sounds like Cominsky may have gotten caught passing some fake $100 bills over in Pennsylvania. That hasn't been proven yet, and I don't think he's been officially charged. More importantly, he hasn't been convicted, so it's just an allegation now, so it hasn't been proven. Could I see them getting a day or two for a symbolic sentence? Sure. And could that sentence also be being passed down to make an example of them so other people understand don't do this anymore? Sure. But I doubt you'd be looking at more than a day or two. Now, the probation, yeah, I can see them getting at least a year. 6 months is really short. Do I see them getting fined out the wazoo? Yeah, the judge is probably going to fine them pretty heavy. Do I see them getting their fishing license suspended for 3 years? Yeah, the judge probably is going to agree with that and suspend it. He'll also agree that the boat's forfeited. Now, will he make them do community service? Because that's something he can order. He might. Any number of things he can decide to impose. He is a judge. He has a lot of options available to him when he's shaping a sentence. At this plea hearing, the judge then ordered that both Cominsky and Runyan submit to a pre-sentence investigation. Now, what is a pre-sentence investigation? It's also called a PSI in many locations. It is the ability for the judge to understand what's going on with you and to have some idea of who you are. Because really, at the end of the day, when the court looks at you, they just have a file saying the state of Ohio versus Jacob Runyan. That's all he's got. That's all he knows. So certainly all the things you would love for that judge to know, who you are, how it was when you grew up, if you have medical issues, mental health issues, family issues, substance abuse issues, issues at work, if you were in the military, all those things you would want a court to know that you can get verified and provided in a digestible manner, you certainly will want that to happen. And that's what a PSI does. The probation department works with the defendants and they basically search all the information out and verify it. Now, that doesn't take the place of the defendant and their attorney coming into court and speaking on their own behalf. It just helps. In addition, it doesn't prevent a defense attorney from issuing what's called a sentencing memorandum, where they might highlight factors and highlight other things, making a recommendation what they think is proper for their client to be sentenced on. The sentencing has been set for May 11th, 2023 at 11 a.m. in downtown Cleveland. And the neat part is, well, I'm going to be there. And I'm going to try to film it because guess who requested media access? Le journalist. So that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is a fair punishment? Do you think it's still overkill? Do you think these guys should have just been dealt with by the other fishermen that were there in the parking lot? And you know what? Maybe they get beat up a little bit and, hey, that's the cost of doing business. And it's a far better use of resources than dragging this all through the court system. I'm certainly open to hear it. Questions or comments below. And in the meantime, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty.